Welcome everybody. This is week 4 now, and we are switching gears a little bit, going from the reflective narrative to the analysis essay this time. So I don't have my screen share up, so I can't show you my screen, but nonetheless, be sure to pull up first before watching the rest of this video the WP2 Analysis Essay Guidelines PDF, and of course I'll post the Word document as well if you prefer that. But either way, open up the file so that you can read along and kind of get a good idea of what I'm talking about whenever I describe the analysis essay. So I'm going to get up and kind of go back here to the board so I can write some things out for you. Again, I'm at my classroom, my daytime classroom, so bear with me here. The very first thing you're going to see on your guidelines handout is that this one is going to be an analysis essay covering well, it says significant social issue, but it's going to be the same, hopefully the same issue that you've used for your reflective narrative. For instance, if you talked about bullying in your reflective narrative and how it affected your life, that's going to be hopefully your topic. Now, I keep saying hopefully because you don't have to have the same topic. If you had, for instance, writing project 1, you did bullying, and you don't really think that that's going to work out very well for writing project 2, then you're more than welcome to change your topic, and you can actually do that at any time between writing project 1, 2, 3, and 4. The idea is for you to stay on the same topic, but if you don't, it's not a big deal. But if you do, by the time you get to the very end of writing project 4, you're pretty well going to be an expert in the topic, and it'll make that final presentation for that essay, that multimodal presentation, it'll make it that much easier. So it's something to think about. If you're going from bullying and then now you say maybe it's not controversial enough for an analysis essay, then you can, for writing project 2, go to, say, gun control, gun laws. Seems to be my go-to argument these days. So that is perfectly okay if that's what you want to do. I'm looking for my eraser right now. So kind of to start things off, the analysis essay has to be needs to be controversial. Now, the reason that it has to be controversial is because what you're doing here is you are going to analyze all parts of an argument. So for instance, if you do gun laws, you're going to analyze, first of all, the topic. You're going to give me some information about gun laws. What are the current gun laws? Where are they? Who has the most lenient gun laws? Who has the most strict gun laws? Things like that. That first section of your paper is really going to be about what's going on with this issue, and then next you're then going to give me one side of the argument. Now, whenever I say one side, I'm not saying your side. In this paper, you're not really going to have a say-so. This is supposed to be unbiased. The analysis essay really needs to be unbiased. And what I mean by that is you're welcome to have your own point of view, but this paper shouldn't really reflect what your point of view is. You need to have the controversial issue, which in this case is gun laws. You'll describe that issue. You describe one side of the argument, and then the third part is you describe the other side. That way you're not necessarily trying to persuade me into anything. You're more so just trying to inform me as the reader so that I know a little bit about the subject and I can make my own decision about the subject at the end of the day. So let's see. What else about this paper? It needs to be 3 to 4 pages. I'm not erasing, I'm just kind of making a graffiti wall of all the guidelines. And so the first part there, I'll kind of read it to you a little bit. Every day we witness arguments and disagreements and are forced to form opinions about various issues. Often we are influenced by the voices of our friends, the views of our friends and family, or other people we trust. However, we rarely take time to truly understand the complexity of both sides of the argument before taking our position. So what that paragraph is really saying is a lot of people just jump into it without really thinking about both sides before they decide on their own position. And once someone really decides on their position, a lot of times they're reluctant to change, even though they maybe have been proven wrong, or they've been proven that there's a more effective method, or something like that. Next, for this assignment, you'll take the time to explore one controversial issue and that interests or bothers you because it's controversial. If you covered it in writing project 1, use it. If you don't want to use the same topic, change it. You will conduct extensive scholarly research to fully explore both sides of the argument, and so that's kind of this part here. Whenever I say scholarly, what did I say? Scholarly research. That means you're going to have sources. You're going to need at least 3 relevant sources, outside sources that are scholarly. So what that means, and I'll go over that in the upcoming weeks, but that just basically means you can't use like Wikipedia. You can't use joeschmo.com. You can't use websites that aren't peer-reviewed, basically is what it boils down to. What else? 3 to 4 pages. It will be in MLA formatting. Hopefully everyone's had a little bit of practice with that now with the writing project 1. I try to provide feedback primarily with that on MLA formatting. I also tried to look at organization primarily as well as the thesis. So you've had some experience now, so try and apply all those things you learned from writing project 1 into writing project 2. Let's see. Present both sides without bias. We already mentioned that. You must remain neutral throughout the essay. You may only reveal your opinion in the concluding paragraph of the essay or not at all. So you have the option once you get through your topic. And so if you're looking at it as an essay, and I'll go over this in the next video in more in depth, you'll have your intro. Then you kind of have section 1, section 2, section 3. And again, when I say section, I'm not referring to just paragraphs. It's not paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. You'll probably have multiple paragraphs in each section. And then, of course, the conclusion. That can be one of 2 things. You can either say, in light of this evidence, everyone needs to do whatever it is that you want them to do. That's where you kind of reveal what you think should be done. So, for instance, if you use one side is guns kill people. On the other side, people kill people. And then both sides of those evidence, you've kind of provided scholarly sources to back up both sides of the argument. And at the end, you say, based on this evidence, this is what you should think. This is what I think. This is my perspective. This is what you should think. That's one way to go about writing the conclusion. The other way to go about writing the conclusion is to say, based on this evidence, basically make your own decision. What do you think? After reading all of this evidence and reading all the scholarly information that I provided you, what is it that you think? And that's kind of closing with calling them to action. Basically, take action on whatever you think is the right way and go from there. Let's see, what else? You'll use the CAC library and its various online databases to find 3 relevant sources. I already mentioned that. So 3 sources on this. Let's see what else we got. At the bottom, you're going to see the part where it says notes, and it says your essay must include creative title, engaging introduction, tightly focused topic, and clear claim/thesis. So you'll need a thesis, and it's going to be a little bit different than the thesis that you used in your reflective narrative, but not by a whole lot. And I'll explain that in the next video. I'm going to do a video strictly on thesis writing, and it'll be shorter than this one, but thesis writing gets a little bit easier, in my opinion, whenever we start going into the analysis essay. So what else? Thorough exploration of both sides, effective organization pattern. We reviewed that, or I reviewed that heavily in your reflective narrative rough draft. Accurate information, and then in-text citations and works cited. Now, the works cited and the in-text citations, I don't expect you to know that just yet. We'll get into that, and I'll post videos, of course, going over that. But the big thing for right now is just kind of start thinking about what types of sources, what kind of topic you're going to have, what types of sources you can use to back up both sides of the argument for that claim, and basically everything you're going to need to organize. Now, one thing I will say is that, well, actually the next video is going to be on choosing the topic, so I'll talk about that in just a moment. So let's